like we are live on the Facebook. So I have the pleasure of being here right now with Miss Nadia, who is going to be leading us through an art exploration, which I'm super excited about. So Nadia, what do we need for our art exploration today? What tools do we need?
All you need is whatever you have, even if you have just a couple of sheets of printer paper and a pen or a pencil, that's fine. You can do it with that. If you, at most, perhaps a couple of colors like markers, crayons, any color pencils, if you have that. Otherwise, a pen and paper is fine.
Yay. Well, I'm so grateful for you being here as part of our fundraiser and sharing your love of art with us. And I can't wait to dive in and get started. So I'm going to just turn it over to you.
Thanks, Alana. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. And what I just wanted to give a brief intro before we started. Just an exploration through art on the intelligence of the body. Like, what does that even mean, right? Our body is sentient and it's alive, like the earth. And it has, actually, it communicates pretty effectively if we listen. And to learn to tap into that, art is a great way to tap into beyond the conscious and the verbal, because our body doesn't really think in those terms. In a lot of ways, the body is the unconscious mind. So art is a fantastic tool to begin to tap into that and build that relationship with your body. So we're just going to start with a brief warm-up exercise and then go a little deeper. So grab a sheet of paper and a pen or pencil and sit down, take a seat, and take a moment to, let's do a little thing to become present with our bodies. So we're just going to take about less than a minute to do this. Let's put our fingers in our ears, and everyone could turn off their microphone, please. And just, we're gonna hum for a few seconds. Just close your eyes and hum like. And whenever you're ready, come back and see if you note a difference, and the thoughts in your head are quieter. See if you can feel that. And the second thing we're going to do is just start, tap your feet on the floor. You can probably hear mine, and just wiggle around a little bit just to get present in your body. And you can pat your body and just so that we're really here. All right, now grab your pen and paper. Usually when we draw something, it's something outside of ourselves. We're thinking, okay, here's me, here's my pen outside of me, and I'm making something outside of here, and I want it to look like this. So the focus is outside. We're gonna switch that around. Just, I want you to just tap your feet and just see if you can think of it, the pen as an extension of your body, like it's really sort of coming from your gut. See if you can feel the connection. And I want you to just start scribbling on your, you can use the idea, the goal is not what you are making, it's the process. and to learn how the movement of your body is showing up as the marks of the paper. So you can use your non-dominant hand. You can close your eyes. Just make sure it's a continuous scribble. So just put the pen down on the paper and start moving it. If you can feel it, feel the movement going up your arm, up your shoulder, and see it as a movement off your body, not something separate from you. It's not your hand drawing. It is helpful to close your eyes to just feel the movement of the body. And the idea is that flow and not the end product. And this is a great way to sort of loosen up and bring back that connection to what you're creating and to the body. So just do that for a few more seconds. Feel free to move around as much as you want. Like you can switch hands, you can close your eyes, but keep bringing the focus back to the body. Let the hand move, but let the focus be on the body and see what's going on there. It's not about anything right or wrong. And do that for a few more seconds and then come back and join us. Whenever you're back, and see if you notice a difference. You don't need to look at the drawing. In fact, what we're gonna do, let's take that and we're gonna get rid of that, because we as humans do have a tendency to judge, right? And we're going to keep looking at that. Oh, what did I mean? So that that was just to emphasize that this was purely for the movement and that connection. Now that you've thrown that away, just remember the sensation and delete everything else. And that's what we're going to move forward with. So, all right. So I'm gonna ask if, before we go into another of the exercises, just remain present with those sensations. If anyone has something that they're on their mind about the body that perhaps a discomfort, or you don't have to share it, just bring it into your mind, or something that you would like to change. Just notice it and yeah, bring it to your awareness. You can share it if you like, you don't have to. So now what I'm gonna ask you to do is do a similar exercise. You're gonna ask, before doing that, take a deep breath and ask, what does my body want to tell me today? Take a moment and just ask that and come back and join us. And you don't need to come up with an answer. If your mind is trying to come up with an answer or find an answer to that, let go of that. We're just asking the question and letting it go. And we're going to let the drawing answer that question for us. So now I'm going to ask you to start a similar kind of scribble that we were doing before. You're just taking a pen, any kind of paper, and you're going to let your hand move. The only thing that I ask is that your line be continuous. Let there be swirls. You can use a non-dominant hand. You can close your eyes. and just let the pen move on the paper. So let the lines crisscross, let it be a swirly scribble. Just enjoy the movement, move along with it, and do that for a few seconds. And when you come to a comfortable stopping point, I'll give everyone a few seconds. And again, it's not about what it looks like. It's not about it's about you and the movement. I'm going to give it another couple of seconds. It gets very addictive, actually. You don't want to keep, you don't want to stop the scribbling because it's kind of a lovely swirling movement. Let's come to a stopping point. I'll just show you kind of what mine looks like, just so everyone has an idea. It's just all right, so let's come back together. Awesome. Love it. So what I'm going to ask you to do, you can put your pen down. Fantastic. All right. Now, you can just, you know, shake out your body a little bit if you want. Take a second to be present with your scribble. And see if you see hints of any shapes in there. Do you see any objects? Do you see a partial image, maybe a tree or a flower or a hint of a memory or any visual that you just don't judge it, and it doesn't have to be complete. It just has to be and if you can see more than one, and maybe you don't see one, it's not about right or wrong. So just take a moment to scan it and just be present with it. Don't be trying to find something in there consciously. Just be with it. Give everyone a minute to look at it. Let it jump out at you. It can be an everyday object as well. It can be a table, a balloon, a fish, the moon, a hat, whatever. Do you feel like okay, any image that you see, I want you to take your pen, or if you have a couple of other colors like a marker or a pencil, start to enhance the image that you see. If you see a hint of something, if you see, let's say, a partial, what could be a butterfly, a dinosaur, or a tree. So I want you to start enhancing it. You can add lines, you can draw it out, you can add colors. Just, there aren't any rules here. You can, once you've decided on the image, start to enhance it however you like. I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes to do that. We'll see how everyone's doing. And if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask. I'm just going to give everyone another minute or so to work on the images. And while you're working on that, note if anything comes up in your memory, whether it's a memory or if a particular area in your body begins to, there's a sensation that you feel in your body, just make a note of that, and you can write it down on the sheet of paper, just scribble it down, just so that you remember. Hey, let me know when. Usually I'd give a little more time for this, but I'm just going to say when people are, when you start getting close to being done, just let me know. If there are any questions that come up, you can ask them, or you can write them down, because they can also be just questions for you. I work a lot with questions because that's what opens up the possibilities. And as they say, asking the right question is half the answer. I'm just going to show you one of mine, like mine as an example. Whenever you're done, not to interrupt your process. Again, there's no right or wrong. However, whatever you made is right for you for this moment. But as an example, I'll show you, like, this is a scribble. You can see this is a butterfly. You see that? All right. Do you feel like you need a little more time? Okay. I know it gets very, it's hard to pull oneself out of it once you get into it. But we're doing a relatively quick exploration, so we're not going terribly deep. So yeah, let's begin to come back together. And yeah, take a look at your image. Wow. Well, thanks for taking the initiative and sharing, Alana. I was just going to ask if anyone wants to share the image. You don't have to. Oh, wow. I'm seeing like a number of things in there. That came from very, like, a deep within. It feels almost archetypal, you know? Oh, wow, that is intense and powerful. There's such a deep power radiating from that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I would like to, I just wanted to share a couple of things before we go any further. So before we start looking at the images and reading meaning into them or judging them in any way, it's the exercise that we did of scribbling. It allows parts of us, the non-verbal parts of us that are beyond our conscious and verbal mind, it gives them an opportunity to kind of pop up, because we live pretty structured lives. We have a schedule, we have things we do, we go to bed or go to work or go to sleep at a certain time. Everything is very contained and in its place and structured. Whereas a lot of, we all have parts of our psyche that are submerged or not as conscious. It's not, there's nothing wrong with it. That's how we function. But just engaging in simple exercises like this, which you don't have so much control, we're not controlling so much. It allows images to pop up. And images are really our first language when we're babies. When the visual cortex in the back is one of the first to develop. So before we understand words, or even we have a sense of touch, like babies really can't tell the difference. If you touch this part of their finger or this, they haven't developed those that awareness to differentiate between different body parts. But before even that, before we have any filters, all the visuals are streaming in and they're getting imprinted. And a lot of them get lost as we get older and we begin to use our intellect and words and logic. A lot of that is forgotten, but it's still in there. So these sort of exercises, they allow all of that to come forth, and we can use it for a variety of things. But I want to bring it back to the body, because today we're focusing on the intelligence of the body. So I just want take a look at your image and see if you feel, if it feels significant in any way. Don't try to come up with a meaning or anything of that sort. Just take a few seconds and be with it without words. Then I'll give you the next piece. Okay, so there's two parts to it. In the first one, I would like you to write down 3 sentences, starting with the words, I am, and this is your image speaking to you. If your image was speaking, what would it say? And write down 3 sentences with the word starting, I am. Don't think too much. Don't judge it. You don't have to share it if you don't want to. First thing that comes to your mind as your image is speaking. I am. Let me know when you're done. It can be a word after the I am. It can be a whole sentence, a longer sentence, whatever comes up. And Let me know when you're done. Okay. Whatever you have at this point is great. Don't think about going back and correcting it. Don't worry about words. It's sounding better. Now the last part, and then we can have a bit of a discussion and share the images after this. One more sentence I would like you to write down and take a minute with this. Actually, does anyone want to share before we do the next step? Is there anything that came up or anything interesting? Go ahead and mute yourself and share, please, Nicole. Thank you.
Hi. It was pretty intense when I looked at this. My sentences: I am the abandonment wound. I am free and fun and wild. Why am I alone? You said it was archetypal. There's a lot going on here. This is very, very young. Very young. Nonverbal. This is, I feel this from, I almost died at my birth. And I think that maybe this is connected to that a little bit. I also drowned when I was 4, so it could be that too.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. That's thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. It's your image was like you were saying. What it seems to me is this. What I am seeing, it might be different from what you are seeing, and it seems like this protective, nurturing figure that's holding. It could be a baby, it's like a bundle, and I see that she has wings as well, so it's almost like there's an invisible, unseen, protective, mothering figure, angelic figure that is within all that you were going through. We don't always feel the holding, but I get this sense of this really calm and that's enveloping and holding this this bundle very, very protectively. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your words too. It's like I was saying, it's really the participants who create the depth of the groups. Like I'm just here to hold the space, but it is what each individual what they bring and what they choose to share. It really is what creates the depth and the richness, and it's just that's just almost so powerful. Like I don't want to, analyze it or really
like it's higher self, holy guardian angel. I definitely feel that.
Oh, thank you. That's I would say, but like this exercise, we can do it whenever. You don't need me or anyone to hold that space for you. If we can do it every week, every few days, and it's kind of a way to get in touch with the parts of ourselves that perhaps we don't use in our day-to-day lives to function in this world, and nothing wrong with it. But it's always there, and like there's such a deep strength that came through with yours. I don't claim to speak about you, but what I've noticed is a lot of times what we need and what we need to see and feel often does come through with these kinds of exercises. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share before we? And I just wanted to say, I do usually ask if anyone wants to share anything, because sometimes like something deep or intense will come on. So I just like to allow the opportunity to share that before we go on to another step.
I think I pretty much felt complete. I do feel that it's just the never alone, even when alone, you know, always, because none of us are. We tell ourselves that we're alone. But we're not.
Share that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Your Starry wants to share hers. Okay. So I am a hidden hero disguised in the light. You cannot see me, but I am here to help bring in the love. You can feel me when you close your eyes and heart to the sky. And hidden hero is what I got from that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Star. It's and you can see the mask on the eyes of your hidden hero, right? Who's kind of waiting in the dark, always there to jump out when you need it. How was that for you?
It's good. Yeah, I feel like in a lot of ways it's things I hold in my heart about myself and like how I want to help the world, and then also I feel like, you know, my guides and guardians over me as well. And
thank you so much. Thank you. It just felt like a very, very powerful part of you that showed up. Thank you. I'm looking at the time, and let's move on to the next step. I know for any of you who are just joining us, we did a simple little drawing and a little writing exercise. I'm sure that people can also watch this later, right, Alana? Like, so feel free to watch it later to do the drawing exercise as well, because in the interest of time, I'm going to begin to move on to the next step. Yeah. So now we did a little bit of drawing, and a lot of powerful images came through. Now you're probably wondering, like, what does this have to do with the body? What does this have to do with the intelligence of the body? It's not always as clearly connected and laid out as we would like it to be, right? The first question that we asked before and doing any of the exercises was, what does my body want to tell me today? And somehow that the images that popped up for you popped up for a reason. So I'm going to ask you to do write down a couple of sentences and we can come back together. Look at your image, and I want you to write down as if it was your image speaking. Today, your body wishes you to know, or your body wants you to know in this moment. Don't judge it, write it, whatever is coming through. You might be wondering, is it me just writing this, or am I making this up? All of that is normal and comes up just right. Remember, it is your image speaking and saying, today your body wants you to know. So I'm just going to give everyone a couple of minutes of that. And also, I just want to say for the people who perhaps joined us after we finished with the drawing, even if you don't have the drawing, you could just go with the sentence and write, today your body wants you to know, and just write whatever comes with it. Okay. Wow, it feels like everyone's in the flow and it's still writing. Okay, we'll give it a little bit more, but whenever you feel that you are coming to a stopping point and start to ramp up, just let me know. You can hold up your hand. Okay, so let's come back together. Yeah, and now I would encourage you that if you feel like you still have that there's more you can write, you can always come back to it. You can always ask yourself that question and just write. Just it's about, the idea is about letting things flow. Everything in there may not make sense. It doesn't have to be complete sentences. It can be words. And while you're writing, sometimes images will flash in your mind as well. So make a note of that. So the idea is just to get the words flowing. And the more you do things like this, the more you'll find that you step into it smoother. So don't worry if you feel like today you feel like, oh, I don't know what to write. I don't have the words. Like, I have no idea. Or you can just write down a word or a phrase, or it's, don't worry about it. It's just sometimes when you get started with these kind of explorations, there are little hiccups, or like it takes a little practice, or just keep doing it a few times and it'll flow, I promise. So don't worry if it doesn't go the way that you would like it to. Don't get hung up on it. Yeah. Okay. So that can be a pretty intense exercise for some, depending on the time of your life, on the time of day, at times, the kind of week you're having. So some days it'll be a very joyful exercise, and you'll feel it'll be soothing, and at times it can bring up things. So it's really works differently depending on where we are. Is there anything that anyone that came up, and is anything anyone would like to share? Yeah, Vincent, go ahead, please.
So I'm not sure exactly. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what the drawing exercise was, so I made a quick drawing. And,
oh, wow.
I
I
started with
love how
some,
you jumped in there and just like went with it without worrying about it.
yeah, so I figured it was like a free drawing exercise. And I started with these loopies, and then it started looking like a turtle to me. So I kind of got the shape of a turtle in my mind. And so what I wrote was this, is that today my body wants me to know that I have space in my life for unity, protection, and beautiful, wholesome things. And what came to me in images when you were saying that was my nephews and their beautiful smiles, and a mandala, and then clay, like making pottery.
Amazing. Vincent, that's incredible. That's a lot. That's a lot. So before I, again, and I'm going to say that it actually doesn't matter like what I say or do. It's really, it always comes back to you and how you relate to it. So I can say things and sometimes it'll resonate and sometimes it won't.
Right.
That's okay, but always like bring it back to yourself and how it feels in your body. So I can just say that what I am seeing, and it may resonate or it may not, but I saw like, I'm kind of seeing whirling angels in your image, like from an aerial view. If you look at it, I feel like I see their heads and their wings, and they're like in this sort of dance, and they're whirling around. That's the first thing that I saw, that I felt, and the fact that there were images coming up for you while writing. It happens both ways, right? When we're drawing or painting, there will be words or thoughts and memories that pop up, and when we're writing, a visual could pop up because they're always complementary. So, and the fact that you're aware of it and you noted it is incredible. That's a huge strength there. So, and is there, and did you have any questions or anything else that you'd like to share with that? You don't have to, absolutely don't have to. Okay, thank you so much. There's a lot. There's a lot in there. I would be very excited for you to perhaps do this again later, or do it a few times and see what world opens up to you. Thank you. And again, just wanted to say we're doing quite a general exploration today because we have a lot of people, different people joining, and it's not a closed group. So I've kept it very general rather than honing on specific things and going very deep. So it's just an introduction to the kind of explorations we can do. We can also go deeper like this way with specific areas of the body or discomforts or just information that's stored in our bodies. The visuals is actually information that is stored in our body, which perhaps because it was so long ago, we don't have conscious access to in there anymore, but it is all there. And a lot of times we are functioning on those visuals. They from that were, from our formative years, they often develop our view and how we operate in the world. So this was it's kind of a simple exploration to say, like, what lies in our depths and inside our body, and it's maybe technically we think of it as being stored in our brain, but I'm sure like everyone who is here is definitely more aware of their bodies than a lot of other people. And I'm sure you can feel it, that for various parts of your body, there are various cellular memories stored in there. So it's this exercise can also be used to access certain cellular memories in various body parts. So you can use it for a particular discomfort that you have, and you can ask, what is this telling me? And treat it as information rather than something to be gotten rid of. So I'm gonna ask if there's anyone else who would like to share anything. Okay. All right.
I can share. I didn't share yet. It's a little hard to see, but like the green were kind of like leaves, and then the blue, they sort of turned into fish, and then the little pink, that was kind of like representative of the earth and how it's like a part of all of it. And then what I wrote was, I am flowing and growing. I am earth. I am water. I am cosmic. Oh yeah, because then there were also some like moons, like the moons were kind of popping out.
Yeah, I see the crescent moons.
Yeah. So there was like a lot of different images within one image. And then today your body wants to know all is well, flow in bliss. You don't have to figure it out. Just be with your breath. That was what I got.
Amazing. That's beautiful, Alana. Thank you so much. Your image almost feels like this garden bursting into life, like all these different images. It made me think of spring and the earth blossoming. And that's like I mean, all the images that we draw, like in general, they're not disconnected from us. They are coming from you and off you. You can, it is also said that art is energy made visible. So it's like a snapshot in time. Again, it's not like reductive or like this is how it is, but it's just things are always changing. So it is always, no one else is going to be able to do the exact same thing, because it is a very unique part of your signature that you honed in on, and with the questions that we ask, and it puts it onto paper. So again, it's something that you can always work with. If say you do it once a week, and then a year later you look back at your images and the words that you've written, and I will bet you will find more than one surprise in there if you think of the journey that you've had, because we draw these images and we write the words and we forget quicker than we know. And you look back at, say, even a few months ago, and you will see how your body and your higher self, it really knew what you were going through. I bet you would find more than one surprise in there. And it's yeah. So I won't. We don't have time to go into a lot more depth, but before we begin to wrap up, I'm going to ask, is there anything on anyone's mind, or any questions, or any images that popped up before we do a last closing piece. Yes, Vincent, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to say that, like, I guess my vulnerable post is that I was recently in jail for a year, and I wrote a bunch of songs. So I wrote 20 songs that are of the theme of like conscious hip hop and you know, positive lyrics and poetry. And so you were saying that your art captures the energy of your body in the time that it's happening. And I'm interested, now that you say that, to go back and look at them and see like what my mind was going through, what my being was going through. And I wonder if you could give me some tips on like how to process those songs and the art that I made while I was there, and kind of get more out of it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vincent, for sharing that with us and opening to that input. And it's always fun whenever anyone asks questions like that. I find that it tends to be helpful to a lot more people who are listening as well. So I would say a couple of things. Firstly, I want to say right off the bat, like, I'm not saying this applies to you, but not everything always needs to be processed, right, through the mind, because I think, yes, we function as conscious verbal beings, but there's a lot more to us, right? And I personally, I think there are a lot of things that cannot be done in the intellect, and the things such as music and movement and dance and art. These are the tools that, as we engage in them in the physical world, they allow us, they set things right back in the unconscious, in those realms. So automatically it kind of filter through it, and it helps us process. So like, I'm getting the sense that in a way that even writing the songs and the poetry was a way of processing, and it came out onto paper. So I would say that definitely go back and sit down and go through them. But I would say perhaps do it in a conscious way, because when we go back and look at things we've written in the past, we can sometimes get pulled back into that time, into the feelings of that time. Create a container for yourself, like a conscious time. Maybe make a cup of tea and tell a friend that, hey, I'm going to be reviewing stuff from the past. If anything comes up, I'm just going to give you a call. So have that kind of backup, right? And just sit down with it and review it without any judgment. If any images come up, draw it out. As you're going through it, if any thoughts come up, write it separately. Doing that will help you through that process. Is that helpful at all?
Yeah, it is. It helps me have more ways in which I can interact with my art. And you know, I do other arts as well, so I want to apply this to those arts and kind of make a mental note of drawing something, or maybe writing a phrase that connects to the art I'm making at the time. And in that way, have more interaction, more energetic interaction with my art and what it's saying, like what it's expressing, I suppose.
Absolutely. And I'm just thinking, it was, if you think of it, it was a time when your body was restrained, right? the movement and freedom of your body was restrained, and that energy had to go somewhere. So and you channeled it in a creative way into song and poetry. So that's a beautiful way. So perhaps also think about what the relationship is between freedom of the body and how much energy we're putting into that, which you use so beautifully in song and poetry. And I'm just getting the sense that it was a real journey for you. It's again, we have so many ideas about right and wrong and what, but within that, I'm sensing there was a beautiful journey, and that can really, all the things that you wrote, that can really become a foundation for what you do in the future. Like if you look back at it, I think you might find a lot of gems in there, a lot of gifts that can perhaps take you forwards from now.
Thank you. That's really thank you. That's really helpful, and I like what you're saying about the oppression of the body, in contrast or juxtaposed with the freedom of the creative mind that I was able to harness.
Yeah, and no, thank you for just being open to that input. And yes, Nicole, I see. Nicole, please go ahead. Sorry, just a second. I'm just going to ask Alana, are we good for time? If we, because I see that it's almost 1. If we go a couple of minutes over, are we okay with that? Okay, thank you.
I found
Go
it
ahead.
very, very interesting that you talked about it being kind of a snapshot of the body relating where we are. I also wanted to share a little bit of a story that tied in with my drawing today. My body wants to tell me that I'm never alone, that my emotions can lie to me, that I can trust my body, and that we are a perfect match. That my body loves me and will care for me and hold me always, always here for me, and always listening to me. A very long time ago, at least a decade, I was probably 350 pounds and pretty much a shut-in. I didn't leave my house. Social anxiety, agoraphobia just piled on and on and on and on. And I used art as one of my mechanisms to make that shift. You know, as you shift inside, I say I lost the first 30 pounds in 2 weeks, all in tears. But after that, I had no self-concept that I could look anything like what I look like now, until I started to draw her and sculpt her. And in that way, my art told the future, because I looked back and that art became what I look like. I had no idea. I mean, I did, and that I was doing it, but I didn't realize that I was actually creating me. That's what I wanted to share.
Wow. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's another such a powerful aspect of art, right? Yes, a lot of times we will write down our intentions. This is what I want. This is what I want, and that is fantastic. And sometimes there's huge value in going to the art. And like you said, often we don't realize we're doing it, but at some level, some part of us knew, right? And that's why we end up doing something. And then later you realize, oh my God, that's what I was doing. And didn't even realize, because you let yourself go on that, flow with that. And what you said about you didn't realize that you were drawing your future body, is when we draw, it takes away that attention from specific ideas or concepts that we have of not just what we look like, what we want, but we also think that it's hard to get. So when you're just drawing and in the flow, it we step out of those kind of judgments, and it physically brings into form and in our self-concept. So there's huge value in, I won't say, I don't want to put down logic or words or the conscious mind. It's always a dance, right? And just moving back and forth and developing that muscle to move back and forth, which allows a greater integration. That's a skill, right? That's what flow is. And I love how you were just on your instinct and your own intuition just started working with that. I love it, and it's a powerful journey. It's an absolutely powerful journey, and just it shows us how much the body knows, right? It just we just think of as the body as something to change or what we wanted it to look like, but it really does have a lot of wisdom if we start to practice these ways to tap into it, and then it starts speaking to more and more. So it's really a huge resource, like right here in our physical bodies. Thank you again.
Wow, thank you, Nadia. That was such a beautiful reminder. Like, I love free writing, but free drawing, and then the writing that comes from the drawing. Like, how special is that? It's like truly tapping into the unconscious and the higher self. Like I said, this is really, and thank you everyone for your vulnerable shares and everything that you brought. It was, wow, so fun, so special.
No, thank you so much, Alana. And I think we can wrap up now. Yeah, unless anyone, yeah. And I just want to say thank you, Alana, for trusting in me to offer the class here. And again, High Frequency Loft is an amazing place. Like I've been there a few times before this year that we've had, and I would and absolutely love for all of us to somehow come in together and just hold on to this beautiful space where we can engage in work like this and connections like these. So fingers crossed. And I hope to be back there in person someday. Thank you so much, Alana, and thank you so much, everyone, for sharing these parts of yourself. I'm honored to have held that space. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Nadia, so much for your time and for donating your time to be a part of our fundraiser.
My pleasure.
And raise awareness for the space. I did drop the fundraiser link in the comments, but also even if you can't donate monetarily, just please share with your networks because every little bit helps. And hopefully we can gather in person again sometime.